Hey y'all, what's going on today? Welcome back. I'm going to attempt to start a build video. After thinking about it, I don't think I'm going to be able to finish it all in this one video just because it's going to take a lot longer to finish this than I was originally expecting. So let's just go ahead and get started. I started this 74 F-250 camper special. So you can see it's still new in the package. The one underneath of it, I've already done some sanding on to try to dull it down. So you can see it's not as red anymore. I got a lot of the red off of it. Popped the camper off of it. Did a little bit of sanding. I don't like the way it's still got all the little wire and sanding marks in it. I need to get some finer sandpaper so that I can make it look more dull than actual sanded. So I got both sides done. Did both sides on the cab. Got the roof. You can really see the scratch marks in the roof. So it's, in my opinion, it doesn't look that good. Dulled out the fenders or the hood. Got the driver's side all dulled out. I did screw up a little bit. I got a little too carried away, and I sanded off most of my the emblems. So if you go to do that, you got to be careful. And I really went nuts on that front fender, so I'm going to have to paint the tail or the front marker light back on there. This side wasn't quite as bad with the marker light, but as you can see, the emblem there on the front fender is gone. So when you're doing that, you just got to be careful. I need to get some finer sandpaper. If y'all get one of these and you pop the camper off of this, I'm going to tell you, they did not want that sucker coming off of there. I will tell you that. When I popped it off, the whole back of it was covered in plastic. I had to gouge out the tail light, get the plastic and the glue out of the tail light to get the recess back because that detail was gone. Had to take my knife in several passes over the back, trimming off all the extra plastic. Same with the top of the bed rails. I had to go around and trim off all the glue and the extra plastic that didn't come off when I popped it. I don't know if you probably can't tell it on camera, but in the corners, that glue was awful watery. What they put in that they used, it's all down in the seams and the corners and everything. Kind of hard to see on camera. You see a real shiny spot in the corners. That's all the excess glue. So I don't know if there's anything I can do with that. Normally I would just paint the bed black, but this being an old beater truck, I didn't want to do that. So we're just going to deal with it. So we're going to try something different this time. Normally, this is the chassis that came off of that truck. Normally what I would do is I'd pop these wheels off and then I would put some axles on there and I'd steal a set of wheels off of a M2 like this one and put those wheels and tires on there. What I decided to do different this time is I'm going to take the body of the green light and we're just going to put it on the chassis of the M2. Now I got it all lined up. I think that's going to look pretty sweet just because the tires are not going to be sticking out past the fender. It's going to look a little more 250 stock look. It's going to have more of a 250 stock look, I think. Tires will be recessed in the fenders a little bit where they belong or where they normally put them. So I think it won't look that bad. The only problem with this whole thing is that the M2 chassis is just a little bit long. As you can see, by the time I get the rear tire lined up in the fender well, we got to cut maybe 1/8 of an inch off of that frame, the chassis, whatever you want to call it. So we got to shorten this baby so we can get the bed and the cab back together. See how bad it looks there? So we're going to shorten this baby. What I normally like to do is decide on where you want the cut, because when you glue it back together, you don't want to cut the middle out here because then you have nothing you don't have much glue surface. How about you put it that way? So what I do is I like to come up in here about halfway up into the cab and cut it here. And then this way, when I put it back together, I have a lot of glue space under the cab that I can glue that chassis back to, instead of trying to butt glue the chassis back together here that never holds, it never looks good. And then if you want it to look correct and you want a little bit of a, gap there between the bed and the cab, then, you're not going to get that if you try to butt glue it all together. It's just not going to have a real quality look to it. So what you do is you just determine where you want to cut it. Where I'm probably going to cut it right behind where the screw hole was, and I'm probably even going to grind that off of there. I'll grind this back one off here where they screwed it to the frame inside the case that it comes in. I don't know what they actually call that. The holder, whatever you want to call it. So those are what those two stubs are for. So we'll grind those off. We don't need those. And I want to get the bed to set down just a little bit more. It's just a little bit high compared to the cab. See how we don't have a whole lot of fender clearance there, and we got a lot in the back. To fix that, we're going to, there's a little stub there. We're going to grind that down, and then we got a little nub here. We're going to grind that down. And then on the bottom of the bed, where the rivets were, we're going to grind those flat so that everything sets down a little bit lower, and we'll get the look I'm looking for, which is just, like more of a stock look. I don't want it up too high. I just, just a little bit, just a tiny little bit. So that's what we're doing with that one. I'm not going to finish trying to cut this on film or whatever. I'll just do that later, and we'll make a part 2 to this. What I also wanted to show you is, you guys already seen my 94 that I got. As you can see, the wheels kind of fell off of it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to change the wheels. The one on the right is the original rim that came on the F-150. There's the tire. I just swapped the rim into one of these BF Goodrich tires. That's the original rim that was on the BF Goodrich tires. And also these two tires, if you watched my last video, these are the two tires that, top tires that I ripped off of that Johnny Lightning trailer. I finally got those off. These are the back ones. You can see a bunch of glue all over the back of the wheel. This wheel is kind of useless unless you were to use it, say, whoa, there goes the light. Unless you were to say, use it as a dually, rear dually, then you could use this and glue it back to the back of the wheel. Nobody will ever know how bad it was. You can still see it says BF Goodrich there. That wouldn't look bad on the inside. You're not really going to see much of that anyway, so you wouldn't lose that much detail. But those are still usable to a point. So I'm going to swap the rim off the original tire that came on that F-150. And the rim fits on there. It's a little loose. I'll have to glue it in. But I think it fits pretty good in the hole once I get it in place. I think it looks pretty good on there with this stock wheel on those BF Goodrich tires. So we're going to do that. We're going to jack that truck up a little bit. I just got to glue this rim in because it's awful loose. So I'll have that on the next video also. That's about all I got for y'all today. Don't forget to like, subscribe, check me out on Instagram, check out my eBay store. There's a lot of good trucks on there. Y'all have a good day. I'll catch you next time. Bye.